Hi, guys. I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan. We are Bloody Essentials.
We
She's
are.
laughing.
Only because I love you guys. And it's so good to see you guys.
Too. It is so good to see you guys. Always.
Yes. As Ethan said, we are Bloody Essentials, and we are actually doing something very different this week. We have no movies we're reviewing. We are just talking horror. So
yeah.
if you came for a movie, sorry about you. But we're still, Bloody Essentials, which means we're talking about essentials of horror, all things horror, and this might be a better chance for you to get to know us. We're talking true crime, cryptids, aliens, all kinds of creepy, ghosty, haunty, spooky stuff. So this will be a fun episode for you guys.
Ooh, all this mysterious Twilight Zone kind of, stuff like this unexplained and the paranormal and
I love it. I'm so here for it. Yeah. And
same.
What better way to, hang out this weekend than doing it with your best horror friends?
I know, you can't beat that.
That's right.
Can't. So, before we get started, just a quick thank you to everybody that has already liked, followed, and subscribed. It is overwhelming how many people have been reaching out with support, and we just wanted to thank you guys. It means so much to us. And if you have friends that are also into horror or spooky things, please suggest it to them. Get them to join our cult, if you will. And it would really mean a lot to us. So thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it.
We really
do,
do.
Guys. Bring your friends to the dark side.
Yes, the more the merrier. We will have a Patreon page coming up soon, so stay tuned for details on that. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk spooky stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got to talk about it because this week O.J. Simpson passed away. I don't know where you guys stand on that, but I say good riddance, as a lot of people have said so far. What is your guys' take on that? Did you think he was innocent, guilty? What did you think?
Guilty.
Yeah. We've passed our ruling. You guys
definitely guilty.
Were actually cognitive when this was going on. I was still in diapers. So
I was but a child, but I kind of remember little pieces of it.
And I remember it well. I was in high school, so
yes. So I have to ask Ethan and Jamie, were you guys aware of who OJ was before this happened?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You were a sports fan, Ethan?
Well,
not really,
somewhat.
But you've heard of
him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had heard of him. And he was in The Naked Gun, so.
Yeah, there is that. It makes it hard to watch.
Me not so much, because I was like 7 or 8 around the time, so he was not somebody I was very aware of. But like I was saying before we started the show, like I remember all the footage of the chase. They played it all the time. It was on TV like constantly, so that I remember very well. That's kind of like etched into my brain.
Yeah. The most I remember is every anniversary they would show the footage in the courtroom, and then him trying on the glove, and that's and the Bronco chase. They would show that every anniversary of the court hearings or whatever. And it's like, I knew him from that. So there was not a
his hearse. His hearse needs to be a white Bronco. Yeah. I'm just saying.
It's the only appropriate.
And if he's not escorted by like 100 LAPD officers, it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, really.
I seen a meme on Facebook. He's standing before God and he's trying the glove on. And God's like, it's not going to work up here.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Oh my God. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to discuss that because, you guys were aware of that more than I was when it was happening. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. And, like true crime is one of the things we were going to talk about. So, hey, there's like a true crime, like news peg right there for us to start off with. So,
yeah. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, no, it has. It was something like I just popped onto my Facebook and saw, and I was like, oh, Hey, OJ Simpson.
I
died.
fact checked it. I was like, it better be true. Yeah. I really did not think it was going to be so easy to fucking kill him. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
there it is.
geez. Cancer, huh? That's a bitch.
Yeah.
Ethan, I know you
All
love
right.
true crime and all that. You're a serial killer aficionado, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I've always been into, serial killers and horror and stuff. And my mother's like to my father, do you think we ought to like get him therapy or something? I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna be a serial killer. I just want to know what makes these
Yeah.
freaks tick.
Exactly.
It's just interesting.
I know it sounds bad to say who's your favorite serial killer.
That was one
But
of
if
my
you had
questions too, but I had to
But if you-
rephrase it.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
But if you had to pick your favorite serial killer, who would it be?
Ooh, that's tough. And I will
Right.
say that so like when I was like in middle school and stuff, that's when I started kind of like reading up on serial killers. My friends and I like had like a encyclopedia of serial killers book that I swear we passed around like between all of us like so much.
I have
and it
all 3
just-
volumes.
Yep, and it just
How's
I
it work?
just my friend did too. She had like a huge collection of serial killer stuff in
Yeah.
like middle school and high school. So I've always like enjoyed reading about them. Like some of them are so like, ooh, like scary and everything. As far as a favorite serial killer, it's hard to say, but like the Night Stalker is pretty interesting
Yeah.
That's a
and
good
scary.
one. Terrifying.
Yeah, so that's a good scary one.
Yeah. Like, ugh.
I know.
I don't even like looking at him.
I know.
Yeah, he's creepy looking.
He's scary.
I watched a documentary and like they were talking about his teeth and stuff, and like the whole time I'm just waiting for him to open his mouth, and when he finally did, I was like,
Yeah.
like
I know.
There's a really good documentary about him on Netflix.
I think that's the
I've
one
seen
I
that
watched.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah.
My favorite, it's really hard because like for a while I was obsessed with the Manson murders and everything, even though he didn't technically do it. I was obsessed with that one for a while, and there's several others I've been obsessed with over the years, but hands down, Ed Kemper. And it's more
Oh,
so
yeah.
because of his personality than it is
Mhm.
because of anything he did. I can't really tell you a lot about his crimes other than the fact that he cut off his mother's head and then fucked his mom's head.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
even when he turned
he sure
himself
did.
in, he sure did. Even when he turned himself in, all the cops were like, Ed, not Ed. Come on, Ed.
I know.
Like he had to actually show them what he did and
Yeah.
tell them. Like it's baffling to me.
Yeah,
But
because was he like volunteer, like police, kind of like? Yep, that's what I thought. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, he was like really. They did not. He's like, no, I did it.
I did.
Yeah, it
Didn't
was me.
do that.
And
Not
he was
him.
such a jovial guy, even in prison, apparently. And I think it's the Mindhunter show on Netflix is so fun if you want a little taste of him because it shows Manson coming into the prison at the same time, and he's all pouty because everyone's paying attention to Manson, and it's really, really fun. But
And the actor
dude was
nailed
scary.
him.
He
The
did.
actor nailed him. Like I watched like a side by side of like interviews with him, and then like the actor portraying him, and it was like spot on.
And he's tall too. Like the actor is just as tall as he was. I think it was scary how
Big
accurate
guy.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Ethan, I think I know the answer, but who is your favorite serial killer?
Well, I'm obsessed with all of them. But I think I don't want to say favorite because that just makes me sound creepy. But I'm going to have to go with, well, I guess I am a little creepy. John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the reason is because he's from Chicago, the Chicagoland area. So, yeah, I've been to where his house is. And
is it still there?
No,
I
they
didn't
ripped
think
that
so.
house down and put a different house up. But,
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. At least they didn't do what they did with what's his face and Dahmer and just bulldoze the building and cement it and like make sure no one can put anything there.
Yeah.
But I have a piece of sidewalk from Macy's house.
Wow.
Authenticated and everything, or
well, I have one that's authenticated. I have a vial with some dirt and a rock that's authenticated from there. But then I have a piece of sidewalk about yay big that nobody's gonna. It's just I know it was there because I went and I got it. So,
okay, that
so,
makes.
I mean, it's cool to me, but everybody else would be like, "Dude, you got a piece of sidewalk up here." Well,
but I know what it's from.
But
exactly.
It's not just a piece of sidewalk.
That's right.
It is the piece of sidewalk.
That's right.
It's pretty badass.
The piece of sidewalk. Yeah.
That is so
There
cool.
is a museum here in Chicago. Well, not really a museum, but it kind of is. It's operated by the same guy who is currently working on the John Wayne Gacy documentary series right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Graveface Chicago. They sell records, horror t-shirts, all kinds of other stuff. But in the back, there is a like $5, $10 museum. You just pay to get in, and there's a section for like oddities and freak show type things, and then there's a section of letters and artwork and all kinds of other things from John Wayne Gacy that he had sent to different people that his sister had collected throughout the years.
Wow.
And that she donated because she didn't want anything to do with after he passed.
Yes.
So it's all there. And there's also stuff from the Night Stalker and Manson there as well. Apparently Manson wrote a check. This is disgusting to me, but Manson wrote a check to Polanski.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's there in the museum.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember what it said on it, but it chilled me. Like the hairs on my neck stood up. I'm like, what a dick.
Wow.
I have props.
Oh.
This here is actually the dirt from his crawl from Gacy's crawl space.
Oh, I see.
And a piece of stone. There's an authentication on the back of it.
Wow.
This here, that was a gift from my friend Angel. Thank you.
Hi, Angel. We love you, Angel.
I don't know you, Angel, but I love you too.
You'll meet her. This here is the piece of stone from his sidewalk that I got.
So cool.
You actually went up there and got it before they tore it up.
Ma'am.
Wow.
That's wild.
This is my little Pogo the Clown.
So cool. Love him.
But here's some of the other things. This here is a first copy of the Jeffrey Dahmer comic book.
What?
I had no idea. Wow.
Is that a picture of him up above?
Oh, no. That is a picture of me standing in front of what used to be his house.
Yeah, because it's just an empty lot now. Yeah.
Yes. I went to Milwaukee with some of my friends to go see the place because, well, I'm crazy like that. And how do I want to put this nicely? The friends that were with me were African American.
Mm-hmm.
It's a predominantly African American place
Community,
there. Yeah. And, well, the one white guy who was there, 8 people. So they were not real receptive to the big white guy who came asking where the apartment complex was.
There's a lot of, Grim Life Collective, they did a video tour of some of the locations of Jeffrey Dahmer. And I remember distinctly Michael got yelled at by a woman. Yeah. To be fair, he did admit that he got a little too close, but it's still pretty recent in everybody's mind. So
honestly,
if you are going to these locations, have some sensitivity. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
When everybody started freaking out and asking me what I was doing there and, I shouldn't be glorifying this. And I was like, no. I said, you misunderstand. I'm writing a paper for college. And then they were fine. I wasn't, but I didn't want to die. So, I figured I might as well make something up. So,
fair.
I think there's a lot of misconception about people's interest in true crime, and like we're glorifying the murders. I've always been a history buff, so I find it
Same.
fascinating,
Right.
and I want to see where this history took place.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
my desire, to see the locations and
Yeah.
basically not really like put my mind into like where the victims passed away in their final moments, but like this is a piece of history, whether we like it or not. And, it's interesting to learn more about it. So,
Absolutely.
Agreed. I'm like fascinated by dark psychology. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like the parts, the like what causes people to do certain things or like think certain ways or behave
yeah,
certain ways. I
Right.
think like in some ways, like all people are kind of interested in that. Like some people aren't
yeah.
going to be as
Whether
like
they want to admit
passionate.
it or not. Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, they might not be as passionate as us, where we're like, oh, I want to read about this and go to that
right,
location and learn more because it's fascinating.
right.
Like, how does that happen with a person, But I think everybody has like an interest in it in some way or a curiosity. They just might not be
Definitely.
full blown passionate like we
Right.
are, but it's
Yeah,
something that everybody's
And I
curious
think a lot of
about.
people won't say it because
Mhm.
they're afraid that they're going to get the reaction that we do get.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I know a lot of people have kind of started coming out of the woodwork in the past 5 to 10 years with all these true crime podcasts and documentaries and series. And people are like, oh, we love true crime. And it's like, it's becoming more acceptable now, I feel like, but there's still a lot of misconception. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I have one
Totally,
last
yeah.
thing. Can I show it to you?
Please.
Yes.
It's a Christmas card from Charles
Oh,
Manson.
wow.
Did you write to
Wow.
him, or did you just have a copy of that?
No, my brother actually got this for me. So you can see
Okay.
here. It was to
Wow.
somebody else, but it came with it. There's pictures of the prison, his cell, um,
Wow.
the Christmas card, and then I have a replica of the
Letter.
prison issued
Oh,
shirt that he uh, had to wear.
wow.
So
That's crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
Now that I think about it, I could probably see where
It's
my
so
parents thought I
cool.
was a little nuts. So
Nah,
yeah,
totally
Yeah,
normal.
he's fine.
right.
He's fine. If he starts hurting animals, then we need to be worried.
Would never do that.
I know, you're too much of a sweetheart.
Yeah. Well,
You're a
thank
good
you.
guy.
I appreciate that. Unless you piss me off.
No.
So
Then you're scary.
Yes. Then watch out.
right.
Right? Jamie, what topics interest you?
Okay. Well, obviously like horror stuff, but and true crime I love. I will say that like I have a plethora of true crime shows that I turn to on a regular basis. Like if I'm not watching horror or maybe a comedy, chances are I am watching a true crime show. Whether it's Deadly Women or like Mean Girl Murders or whatever, I'm watching a true crime show. But the thing that I really, really love is cryptozoology. It's like my favorite thing ever. I love monsters. I've been a fan for a while, and I don't even know where it necessarily came from, but like I've been into cryptids since I was in high school, repping the chupacabra over here because I'm in the Southwest. So always been a fan of that one. I swear there was a night at summer camp that we heard one, maybe not, but we're there and the kids were like freaking out and there was like a crazy sound. And then in the morning, the lady from the ranch, however many acres down, came over and she asked if we had seen her missing goats. And chupacabras are the goat sucker. So
Wow,
I,
that's
so I was like,
spooky.
I told you that was a chupacabra, you
I
guys.
bet all the
She
kids were
literally,
like,
yeah, yeah. But I love them. They're like my favorite. I did like a poetry series about them and Mothman. I have like tons of books on them. Just adore them.
Ugh.
what? Okay, so I have to ask because uh I'm not as knowledgeable about this subject as you are, obviously. What exactly are cryptids? I mean, I've heard of some of these things, but what are cryptids? Like, what exactly is all that?
School us.
Yeah, so these are like beasties or animals that haven't necessarily been proven by science. So these are going to be things like Bigfoots, Wolfmen, any kind of like bird monsters like Thunderbirds or, skunk apes, all those kind of things, Jersey Devil. So these are animals that like people have had sightings of, people have reported seeing. They're in like cultural kind of like atmosphere. People have stories about them, but
Nessie.
science has, yes, exactly, like Nessie. Science hasn't necessarily been able to say, all right, we got definitive proof. This is a Bigfoot,
Interesting. Okay. That
Okay.
sounds very fascinating.
Yeah. I have to do some research
It
on
is.
that.
Yeah, there's really great books out there. Actually, my favorite cryptid author, Linda Godfrey, she just passed away recently, but she was amazing. And, any of her books are really good. Or there's John Keel, who's kind of like a huge name in cryptozoology. He wrote the Mothman Prophecies, which is one of the big ones. So highly recommend checking out the Mothman Prophecies, the book. The book's really, really interesting. He blends in all this alien research he did over the years too. So it's written in a really interesting way. I love them. I've never seen a cryptid. I can't say
That
I'm a
doesn't mean that they're not
believer,
real.
Exactly. I would love to see one though. And it's a much more exciting world with the thought that there could be,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wrote a story about a cryptozoologist from Tucson, and I did talk to several people who were like, I don't know, some of that stuff was pretty interesting. I can't say. Yeah, so I love the stories. The stories are all really interesting, and I just love like this kind of tradition of storytelling and sharing that culturally over time because they're very regionally specific. I mean, I'm sure your guys' area, has like regional cryptids. I'm not sure which ones they are, but yeah, definitely, they're awesome.
When did you start getting into that? Like, did you just hear about it at school or something? Or like, what got you into that? Was there a specific cryptid that sparked your interest?
I was trying to think about that before we hopped on because, again, I've been into them since I was honestly, like a kid. I really liked monsters, and I think that's where it came from. And I think it was honestly, it was the gateway cryptid. It was Bigfoot. I watched Henry and the Hendersons, and that's Bigfoot. And then I think there's probably some other little Bigfoot, things that came into my world as a kid. And so that was kind of the gateway to it. And because I like things that are unexplained and kind of horror adjacent, it just was kind of like a natural mix of all the things I love, like in one thing. And people, I love people. And it's all about people.
Absolutely. And you like to collect people's stories too as a reporter and everything. So that's perfect for you.
Yeah, it's crazy too. I'm like sitting on really interesting data. Like I have this like previously unpublished data from these like cryptozoologists in the 80s. And what they did is they surveyed witnesses, right? And so it's all this witness data where they were trying to find common threads between people who have encounters with Bigfoot, right? So what time of day do people tend to see it? How far away are they? What kind of professions are these folks in? Like what age groups are they in? Are there any commonalities between these folks who have seen, Bigfoots or reported seeing Bigfoots? So it's really fascinating stuff. I should do something with it.
You should make a book.
I know, yeah. And then I have like newsletters, like a whole collection of newsletters that this cryptozoology museum used to make. And it's probably the only set that exists. So pretty cool stuff.
Wow. That's really cool.
Bit of a fan.
That is very cool.
What about you, Nina?
I don't know a lot about cryptids or anything like that. I still love true crime and everything. I've been getting more into aliens lately.
I love aliens.
Yeah.
And, since the government decided to announce that they were in fact real and then nobody made a big deal about it because, because no one watches the news. So yeah, it's always been interesting to me, and I love all of the old 50s movies about aliens coming to our world, and creatures from other planets. I always found that fascinating, and it's insane to think that like we're the only people that exist on this planet. Like you can't tell me that this huge universe and multiple universes outside of that and there's no other life out there. It's just us. That's kind of lonely, and uh I'm an optimist in the fact that I hope that there's more out there.
I'm a romantic in that sense. Yeah.
I think it would be really boring if it's just us. Like this is all, So I like the idea of maybe not exactly what we think would be aliens, but like other beings and entities out there. And same goes for like ghosts and stuff. Like I don't think that there's like Casper the Friendly Ghost or anything, but there's orbs and spirits and stuff, and I believe that there's like maybe a dimension of people or spirits or whatever that we can't see, but maybe can see us and potentially interact with us. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
No one knows for sure.
Totally. I just like to keep an open mind to everything. Like, I mean, have you guys ever had like a weird, unexplainable like experience, whether it was something in the sky that you were like, do you see that thing? Was that a UFO? Or like something where you're like, was that a ghost? Or, I can't explain that. What was that? Have you guys had any of those?
Ethan, have you had anything?
I've had quite a few.
Oh,
yeah. Let me go first, then you tell yours because yours is fun.
Okay.
So I haven't actually seen anything, but this is kind of an emotional story for me to tell. But you guys can chalk it up to whatever you want, religion, whatever. But I'm not a personally religious person due to different reasons. But my friend James passed away, I think, a few months before my 25th birthday. And we were really close. He was probably my best friend in the whole world. And he had been battling cancer for several years, and it looked like it was getting better. And he ended up passing away due to complications from surgery, not the cancer. So the doctors fucked up. Anyways, obviously I was taking it pretty hard, and I can't tell you how many hours I spent crying in the car, crying to sleep. And there was one night I was crying myself to sleep, and I was in just so much pain. And clear as day, to this day, I can still feel it, but I felt a hand on my shoulder, like just as clear as I'm putting on my shoulder right now. And I heard his voice say, "You don't have to hurt anymore. It's okay. I'm fine."
Wow.
Sure.
And like I said, believe whatever you want. I choose to believe that it was James, and that he was just letting me know that I don't have to be in pain anymore.
Wow.
So that is my experience. I haven't experienced anything else, but that's more meaningful to me than any mysterious ghost or figure or UFO that I could have ever spotted. So that's my emotional story. Ethan, let's laugh.
Okay. I'll leave the emotional story for later. There's been quite a few different things that I'm quite a bit older than you two, too. So, I mean, prior to and precursor, I'm not a particularly religious person either, although I am a Christian. Don't misunderstand that. I think religion sucks. Religion divides people. But I am a Christian. So with that being said, that'll all make a little sense in the story here in a minute. Prior to becoming a Christian, was dabbling in some dark arts type stuff, seances, stuff like that. Well, we had a seance at my house, and sorry, Mom, but we had a seance.
This is how
at
she
my
finds
house.
out.
I don't think she knew this. Sorry, Mom. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, my mother's a pastor. Sorry, Mom. Anyway, we have this seance. It was Halloween night, and my cousin was here from New York, and he was like, "Oh, let's have a seance." And we're like, "Ah,
You
whatever."
are
It was,
playing with fire.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
So he's like, I'm like, all right, well, how do we have the seance? So he's like, let me call my girlfriend. What we didn't know was his girlfriend was a witch. So she told us what to do with all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And okay, so she's like, whatever you do, make sure you close out the circle. Well, we didn't close out any circle. You're doing
You
this
didn't
all
say
hocus
why?
pocus stuff. So we're doing all this hocus pocus stuff, and I don't say that lightly, but you know, we're doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden my cousin just starts trembling and crying, and he's much older than me, and he just starts crying, and he's like, somebody's standing there. And I'm like, what? And he's like, somebody's standing here. Well, me and my brother turn around and look, and we didn't see anybody. Well, I was like, screw this, we're done, let's go. So we go into the living room, don't close nothing out, anything like that. Go into the living room, we're watching TV, and he's like, I have to go to bed. I'm like, okay, cool. You want to sleep in my room? You know? So I'm like, I'm going to sleep out here on the couch because I was still watching TV. So we had to come from the living room through the kitchen down the hallway to get into my room.
Nope. We're all sleeping in the living room that night.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. We went to walk him into the room, you know, turn the lights on, everything. We walked from the living room into the kitchen, and it dropped about 20 degrees.
No,
you could like literally see your breath in there. We walked 3 or 4 steps into the kitchen, and we had 3 globe lights, and they went
Nope.
boom, 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 and all exploded.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we all run back into the living room, and I'm like, oh my God. What? I'm like, okay, fine. We had the door closed. That's why it's cold. Because no heat was getting in there. I'm like, when we opened the door, we jostled something and it blew the lights. Okay. I'm trying to, you know, in my head, I'm trying to rationalize everything. So walk him into my room. I'm like, go to bed. I turn around and walk back into the living room. I hear a big crash. He comes running out of my room, right? Now this is according to him. In my closet, there was a, what do you call that? A shelf. And it had probably 40 board games on it.
Okay.
And they all came flying out and flew all over my room. Now, it was impossible. It's not like he could have taken it and just pushed it over because they all would have fell. I mean, they were thrown all over the room. So we all camped out in the living room.
Yeah.
Next day, he's like, and I'm going back to New York. He was still supposed to stay, but he's like, peace, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. New York. I'm done. So we clean everything up. Now we hear footsteps in the house when nobody's there. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I would have friends come over and they would hear stuff and they'd be like, your parents are home. I'm like, no, my parents are gone.
Wow.
Well, a friend of mine, John, starts crying one day. We're downstairs. He literally, he's like 17 years old. He starts bawling and trembling. I'm like, what is wrong with you? He goes, who is that? And I said, who is what? He goes, who is that? And he jumps up and runs out of my house.
Wow.
Never came back. I mean, we stayed friends, but he never came back to my house. He was like, no. He's like, I'm done. So this happened for probably a good year afterwards. Yeah. I was in bed one day, going to sleep. And you ever have that feeling somebody's watching me, somebody's looking at me?
Yep.
And I was like, I just could not shake that feeling. So I look around, nothing. Finally, I open my eyes and standing there at the end of my bed was somebody probably about 5'8", 5'9", and they had this like, the only way I can describe it is it looked like, over in China how they had those hats that come down, those straw hats,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and it was just a silhouette of that.
Wow.
So
Did they say
Come to-
anything?
nope, they didn't say anything. I did.
Yeah.
I started calling Jesus. So yeah, yeah, that's what I did. So, and then it went away. It just kind of like walked off, and I was like,
Mm.
okay, that's I'm done with this. Come to find out, the landlords, because of course I didn't know, because I didn't deal with the landlords because I was the kid,
Right.
were Asian.
Oh.
And I guess one of their family members died in the house.
Wow.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's creepy. Yeah, that is creepy. So, but there's been plenty of other things, not just at my house. I have an aunt and uncle who live in New York, and their house was haunted. My dad's seen it, cousin's seen it, aunt's seen it. All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Your mom
Their
doesn't
house-
live in that haunted house anymore, does she?
She does not.
What?
Wow.
And since then, we've all become Christians, so we would just kick it out now anyway. That's why I'm like, none of the paranormal stuff. I mean, honestly, I know I'm going to sound like, a religious nut or whatever. None of that scares me.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever, dude. Look here, Jesus, bye. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I always want to experience stuff. Like, I haven't had too many experiences though. And like, I go into a creepy place, right? And then my mind, I'm like, okay, be open. Let your mind be a sponge for any kind of weird supernatural shit. I'm like, bring it on. I'm ready. And no, I haven't seen that much. I had like one kind of like crazy experience, well, unexplainable experience. I lived in this really old apartment building. Used to be a hotel back in the Wild West days. It's downtown, which used to be kind of like the red light district when it was the Wild West days. So, I'm like, oh yeah, this place is definitely haunted. It's old. It's been around. People died here for sure. You know what I mean? It was like, people lived to like 20, or 25 or whatever, 30. Yeah. So it was like this big wooden building, all wood floors. Our apartment was right there at the top of the staircase, and then you have to walk around and there's halls and stuff. No other apartment doors in our little hallway, right? And so our apartment's tiny. Me and one of my best friends who lived there, apartment's tiny, and we hear a knock on the door. It was a total knock, like it's what it was. Open it, there was no one there, and we're like, that's weird. We would have heard somebody on the floors, if they would have had to run, like there was nowhere for them to go. That's weird.
Right.
As soon as I closed the door, knock happened again. Nobody there. Can't explain it. I don't know what that was, but I know what a knock sounds like for sure.
Right.
And then I remember we always had weird like maintenance stuff with that building because it was super, super old. We got locked inside once. The door like broke. That was complicated to explain to the landlord. She's like, wait. And I'm like, you're going to talk to my roommate. Okay. We're locked inside. Can somebody get us out? But anyway, the maintenance guy, we saw him regularly. And I remember even him telling me a couple of times that, oh yeah, he's like, I've seen weird stuff in this building. Yeah. He's like, I've definitely seen like weird stuff with like the lights going on and off. I've like felt weird things. So was it a ghost? I don't know, but it was definitely like two very distinct knocks.
I believe it.
So
I will say, a few years ago, some friends and I, it was like right after COVID, so we were all excited we can even go out anymore.
Yeah.
We went on this overnight ghost hunt thing at Missouri State Penitentiary. At the time I was living in Missouri, and this place had closed early 2000s due to, people not being treated well. They had several different sections. They had the death row section, they had the general population section, they had a women's section, and then they had the gas chamber where they executed so many people. And we had professionals that were trained and everything. They had equipment and everything that you could rent out. And we didn't really see anything, but there was a specific instance. A friend of mine, we were in the Gen Pop area for the men. Okay.
Okay.
And she had headphones in and this thing that would supposedly pick up ghosts saying whatever,
Okay.
whatever words, and it would show up on the screen, whatever they said as well. So she's listening, and the expert is asking questions.
Okay.
And they've been here before. They've done this. They know a lot of the spirits that haunt the area, so they're familiar by name with some of these creatures. So, I don't remember the words that popped up, but they were very violent and sexual in nature. And then, because apparently they were more triggered by females than they were men, obviously, because they were in prison. And so that started to creep her out. And then she said she heard a guttural growling. Now, this is her. I don't know. But I also know she wouldn't lie to me. So
Yeah.
she was like, I hear growling. And from my experience, that's not good.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's,
needless
you
to
know
say,
that's a bad
pretty
sign.
much done. Yeah. After that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a very creepy place. It was like early spring. It was raining. Like I said, it was overnight. So it was very ominous and spooky. But that, other than that, that was the only thing that we really experienced that night. So that was fun.
Gotcha.
And I would I'd love to do like a ghost hunt or something like that, just because I'm all about immersive experiences like in general. And so
Yeah.
I mean I have some friends who have equipment and stuff, and they're like, we should do it sometime, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool, but I haven't done it yet. And in Bisbee, where I love to go, it's a historic mining town, so many ghost stories. They have ghost tours all over the place. I've seen them walking around. I tried to like get into one, but they saw me and they're like, you have to pay for this, ma'am. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it. I thought if I could just sneak in here and pick up a little bit of information about the ghost story, but all right, I'm on my way.
You live close to Tombstone too, don't you?
Yeah.
Like not too far away.
Yeah, Tombstone is like very close to Bisbee too. Same county.
Yeah.
You go to Tombstone and then Bisbee, and yeah, Tombstone's super haunted as well. Wild West
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. That's not occupied by any living residents, right?
Oh no, it is. Tombstone
It is? Okay.
Yep. Tombstone, there's a whole town of regular people. There's a
Okay.
school, and everything.
That's
There's
cool.
residential area. There's really like one kind of stretch that's like the historic stuff, like
Yeah.
the Birdcage Theater, all of those places. Yeah.
The
But,
corral,
Mhm.
everything.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
Corral. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. The company that did the haunt for the Missouri State Penitentiary, they go all over the country. They're called Ghost Hunts USA.
Wow.
They go to the Real Conjuring House, all kinds of places. So
Ooh.
check
Oh,
them out.
fun.
They're fantastic. And I think we only paid like $99 a person for like
Wow.
6 hours.
It's
And they
not
give
That's
you
not
snacks
bad.
and coffee and everything. They were great. So
Oh,
couldn't recommend
Yeah.
them enough.
my dream vacations are like all like supernatural, horror, paranormal, like related. If I could, I would love to like travel around the US and go to like some of the most haunted places.
Yes.
Stay at them overnight, check them out, learn things. I'd love to go to like the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant. It's like my dream to go. I would love to just go all over the country and experience like haunted or supernatural places and see what happens.
I was going to say the Drake Hotel here in Chicago
Yeah.
is supposed to be haunted.
Yeah.
So
Field trip.
get your rear end down here, and we're all going to go
Yes.
spend the night there.
We should. That'd be so much fun.
Let's do it.
I'd love
I'm
to.
down. Yes. That would be so much fun. Drake, we're coming for
So
you.
down. Yeah. Show us your secrets and your mysteries. We're ready.
We'll set up in the room and do a podcast from there.
Yes.
Ooh.
It'd be so much
We
fun.
could do like a live stream. That would be fun.
Yes.
That'd be amazing.
I did want to ask, since you brought it up, Jamie, is there a specific location, like for any of you guys, like whether it's true crime, haunted location, is there a specific place that you would like to go to that you haven't been yet? Anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, so definitely Point Pleasant, which is where the whole Mothman story and situation took place. It's in West Virginia. It's
Okay.
right on like a little lake or river or something. And they have a Mothman festival every year. It's a little like cute town, so I'd love to visit that place. And then as far as like, I'm trying to think if there's like true crime locations that I'm really interested in. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it, but I do want to go to Point Pleasant.
For me, I would really like to go see the Winchester House. I don't know if you guys know what that
That'd be
is,
so
but
cool.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
So it's designed by Mary Winchester, who was the heiress to the Winchester fortune or whatever, and they made the movie that sucks. But I was obsessed with this house as a kid because it was kind of like the Rose Red house, but it was real. Because she
Yeah.
just kept building and building, and like there's staircases that go to nowhere and everything, and rooms that like are completely impractical or whatever. And they do tours and stuff that you can go to, and I really would love to go. I think it would be so cool just to explore and like ask questions and get more info about the history behind the house. But I think that would be fun. That's in California somewhere, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's in California. True crime. I don't really know if there's a specific place, but if I had to pick one, it doesn't exist anymore, but I would have loved to see the house on Cicero where Sharon Tate passed away. And I know it sounds so weird that I would love to see it, but you know, that's a crime that kind of stood out to me like since I was a young kid. So that's it would just be interesting to see. So
Definitely.
Ethan.
As far as true crime, I think I would probably like to go to Spawn Ranch.
That was my runner up.
Where
Yeah.
Branson was. So
Yeah.
we'll take a trip together, go to Spawn Ranch, then go to her house. So
Yeah, that's hard to get to, so we'd have to do some walking and hiking. But yeah, I've heard it's interesting. The cave where they took that picture is still there that you can sit in.
Yeah, they have tours like Manson tours, and I think some of those locations are included. You know, I did think of a creepy place I've seen shows about and stuff. It's this island of dolls in Mexico City. So it's this island with all these like creepy dolls hanging all over the place. I forget what the story is behind it. I just thought of it. It's just a creepy place, and I've always thought that would be really cool to go to.
That sounds very interesting, just to walk around and see the different dolls that have ended up at this island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of creepy things, I've been to Salem.
You bastard.
I always wanted to go.
I always want to go too.
3 or 4 times, and I think 3 of them were for Halloween. And I went with a group of friends and my brother, and every time we went there, every single solitary time, we ran into the same male witch at the same, standing in front of the same Dunkin' Donuts on that street. We would go in. Every time we would go in, we would get coffee. We would come out, and he would be standing there.
Was he a real person?
No, he was a real person.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah, no, he was not a mannequin. He was a real person.
This isn't Resurrection Mary or some shit? Like he's just obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts?
He was a real person. Every single solitary time we went there.
Wow.
Same person. Now, I don't know if he lived there, you know, which probably. He probably lives there, and we just were like, oh my God, because my brother's like, dude. And I was like, did we see him the last time? He's like, yeah, we did. Because, I mean, he's very distinct looking,
I'm sure.
Very creepy looking. Next time we came in, didn't see him the first day, second day, go into Dunkin' Donuts, come out of Dunkin' Donuts, standing right there. And I'm like, okay, cool.
You know what they say? No trip to Salem is complete without the male Dunkin' Donuts witch.
Right? I'm like, all right.
The
Cool.
warlock of Dunkin' Donuts in Salem.
I
I'm like,
would
"Oh."
really love to go there. I would like to go during Halloween season, and then like in the off season is the time a lot of locals say is the best time to go.
Yes.
But I do want to see it like at its height during Halloween season because I love Halloween, obviously. So
Yeah, I'd also love, in the same vein, I'd love to go to New Orleans. I've never been, but like,
Yes.
talk about tons of like spooky, supernatural
Yeah.
stuff. You got like voodoo shit going on. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to go to New Orleans and like explore some of that. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
That
my bucket
reminds
list.
me. I really want to go to the catacombs in Paris so bad. Like
Oh,
Paris
me
in
too.
general is like on my top 10 bucket list items to go to, but like catacombs specifically would be so cool. I've heard it's
Yeah.
pretty far down, but
Amazing.
yeah, so get ready to climb some stairs. But
Ah,
yeah, it would be so worth it. It would be so fun.
I'd do
New
it.
Orleans. I've been to New Orleans. It's great.
I
Want to go so
bet.
bad.
Lot to do
We'll have to
there.
go.
Yes.
Yes.
Road
It's on
trip.
my
Road trip.
list.
We're just gonna
Yes.
get a bus.
Definitely.
We're going on tour, right? So, like, yeah,
Right.
if you got a spooky place, let us know. We'll add it to our tour.
That's right.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, if you want us to go on tour, let us know and tell us
Yeah.
where
That's
we
right.
should go.
And send us some money. No.
I was gonna say, and
Just some
support us.
gas money.
So
Yeah.
Have you seen gas prices?
Yeah, I know,
Right?
right? I'm just trying to see some haunted spots, y'all.
We'll do an episode at the haunted location.
That's right.
It's
That'd
the
be fun.
dream.
That is the dream.
All right. So we believe in, ghosts and spirits. What about angels and demons, guys? Do you believe they exist?
They could.
I don't rule anything out.
That's how I am too. I don't really rule anything out.
I will say I don't mess with Ouija boards. I don't mess with
No.
anything like that. I don't even want them in my house.
Me neither.
So I've had some friends that are like, let's go to a cemetery at night and you play with. No, let's not.
No.
Yeah,
let's
let's
not do that.
I'd like to not be in a not that kind of horror movie. I do want to be in a
Right.
horror movie, but I want to control.
Yeah.
I want to be in
Right.
control of that. But
see, this is how I get
so-
possessed. I'm like, sounds great, let's do it. And then it's
Yeah.
like, whoops.
Nope.
I'm all
Nope.
for like going exploring, but we're not poking the bear here. Like
No.
Now,
we
prior
explore
to me becoming
responsibly and safely.
Yes.
prior to me becoming a Christian, I played with Ouija boards and stuff, and they are real. 100%.
See, I'm
Yeah,
not a Christian, but I still wouldn't mess with it because I don't want to invite anything in. And I very much believe that anything can come in if you invite it to. And
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not into that. So you stay on your side of the fence, I'll stay on mine. If you choose to materialize that way, that's fine, but you stay on that side.
Yes. Law of attraction is real. If you're putting that energy out there and that ask out there. So good chance something will hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Regardless of what religion you are or what you believe, if you put it out and you talk about it, it's gonna come back at you. So I mean,
totally.
We don't antagonize spirits, anything like that. I went to Bachelor's Grove with a friend of mine, and it's really frustrating to go with somebody who doesn't believe in anything. And they're just like, oh, I want to see some ghosts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is how you end up in a horror movie.
It's like, hey, ghost, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, come on, man.
Shut the
Chill out.
Stop it. Yeah. So, but I remember I've only been there once, but it was a really great experience. And despite that person, that was my ride. But when you cross, you have to park on the side of the street because this is not like a cemetery that's even functioning for the longest time. Cross the street, busy street, and then you go down this gravel pathway. It's not even a road, it's a path. And the trees arch over the path, and it's so beautiful. But you're hearing all these birds and stuff when you go in, and then when you're walking on the path, there's nothing. It's silent.
Yeah.
Dead silent.
Wow.
And this was like in fall. Like you should have heard leaves falling, crunching, like birds singing, nothing. Nothing.
Wow. Creepy.
It was very creepy. And the cemetery, it's very beautiful. Obviously not so well taken care of, but there's lots of visitors that go all times of the year. So it's really a beautiful spot.
I like cemeteries. They're pretty.
I do too. I like to take walks in them.
Same.
I was just on a walk last weekend at a cemetery. It's just a few blocks from my apartment, and it's so beautiful. What's his face? Marshall Fields is buried there.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's a big wig from Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that it was really cool. We checked out some crypts, and there's this one that we could actually look into that had like a stained glass window in the back. And like you couldn't see a lot, but you saw obviously where the person was buried, and it was very spooky. And my friend was like, I'm gonna back away because I feel like something's gonna pop out any second. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Backing away.
But yeah, I love cemeteries so much.
So cool. I mean, you know, it's a big world, guys. Like, there has to be things that there are not conventional explanations for. That's just the way that I see it. Like, who am I to say, you know? I don't know. I'm just a person, you know? Well, I don't know. So it's like, there are definitely things that are like beyond our scope of like, you know, easy explanation.
Sure.
And I think if you had an explanation for every single thing out there, the world would be pretty boring. Like people are still finding new species, new plants out there. Like 70% of the world's oceans are unexplored because we can't get to them. So
yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's like I discovered this interesting thing too, going back to like cryptozoology just a little bit, right? So like during the 2000s and like the mid 2000s and everything, all these huge figures in cryptozoology as a field and as a world passed away, right? And so it's like it's almost like cryptozoology is like dying off a little bit, and it's like I think a lot of it is because like people are so convinced that we've seen it all and that like if it's out there we would see it, you know, where it's like we have technology, like we'd see it, you know, and all this stuff. So I'm like, it makes me kind of sad where I'm like, man, like there's this like dwindling of like belief in the, you know, wild and like beautifully strange and unexplainable. And I'm like, oh, that's such a bummer. Like life's just more interesting when you believe in monsters, right?
absolutely. I think
Just
like you said, with the increase in technology and stuff and having cameras at our fingertips, it's really hard for people to believe in anything outside of themselves and their own lives. And that's unfortunate. But I don't think that it's dying out, Jamie. I think if anything, it's kind of gone underground for a little bit. It'll come back. It'll
It'll
come
have a
back.
resurgence. Everything does.
I see Mothman stuff everywhere. Like I see Bigfoot stuff. I've seen it everywhere. Even just going to places that aren't necessarily like spooky or, you know, creepy oriented things. So I think it's definitely still there.
oh yeah.
And
I mean,
people are just waiting to get their voice out there, I guess. So
I seen somebody wearing a T-shirt with Bigfoot on it, and it said, "I don't believe in you either."
I love that. No, it's like it's kind of cool because like there's been all these like Mothman's been popular lately as like a sex symbol, and I'm like, how did this happen? There's all these memes about sexy Mothman, and I'm like, where is this coming from? And I'm like, I'm for it. I'm glad that Mothman is getting his due, you know. But I'm like, cool, okay. And I'm like, this is new. I like it.
did you see the preview for the Sasquatch? I think it's Sasquatch Sunset movie that's coming out soon. I think it's a comedy.
No.
I think
gotta
it's
check that out though.
But I think it's directed by Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsummer and stuff. So
Right.
it's
Love him.
yeah, but the trailer, check out the trailer. It's very interesting. Just search Sasquatch movie 2024. But
Okay, I got to.
it's got Jesse Eisenberg in it for one.
Aww.
Okay.
So, but from what it looks like they don't talk whatsoever in the entire movie.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but it looks really interesting. The makeup looks fantastic. It actually looks like it's practical effects. So whether it's a comedy or not, I'm here for it. I love Sasquatches and Bigfoot, so I'm here for it.
I love Bigfoot. Always will love Bigfoot. If you want to listen to a really good podcast too, I don't know if it's still going, but the first season of Wild Thing, it's about a journalist who discovers that this cousin that she has who passes away was this huge name in the Bigfoot community. And she's a journalist. She's kind of skeptical, but she's like, I want to learn about him and his world. So she does this podcast where she delves deep into the world of Bigfoot. And by the end of that show, she's like, my opinions have changed on what I think about Bigfoot. I'll just say that. So it's fascinating. It's really good. It's really entertaining. It's called Wild Thing. Love it. It's really good.
Interesting. I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out.
It was
Sounds
good.
like fun.
Yeah. I love the paranormal. I love supernatural stuff. I love like the unexplained. I'm fascinated by it, whether it's the sky, the sea, the land. Like I want so badly to see a monster, you guys. So just cross your fingers for me that it's going to happen one day. I need to get more out into the middle of nature so that I can actually be in the place where I'm going to see a Sasquatch, but I'm going to see one.
Definitely.
Well, if you do, take a picture and send it to me, because I'm way too fat to run away from them. So see, if I see something, I'm gonna be like, if I can't fight you right here, then forget it,
Yeah.
because I'm not running. So
Yeah. Jamie's just jinxed us because she's challenging creatures to appear.
right?
Yeah.
So
Do you
if
hear
some
me,
Cloverfield shit happens because of you, I'm blaming you.
But we'll all go through it together. So
yes.
You're on the next flight out to Chicago.
that's right.
Yes.
And when you
Alright,
do
so-
come
I'm
out here, we're
ready.
gonna go to the swinging bridge. Nina, have you been to the swinging bridge yet?
No, but you told me about it. I want to go talk about it
Yes.
a little bit.
What is
Okay.
it?
Well, the swinging bridge is, I believe it's in Riverside. It's not too far from my house. And it's literally what it sounds like. It's a swinging bridge. It's a bridge that you walk over to get into the forest. And when you get into the forest, there's like a clearing. And the old wives' tale, or whatever you want to call it, is that's where a bunch of like Satanists and witches and stuff do their, perform their black magic and do their sacrifices and stuff to all of their evil deities. So, yeah.
Ooh, it reminds me of a Goatman story. There's like bridges and Goatmen are a common thing where like you have to go across this little bridge and then there's like a goat creature, So yeah, I'm down.
Let me ask you this. What does a goat sound like?
What does a goat sound like?
What does a screaming goat sound like?
Love it.
Me on Monday mornings. That's what it sounds like.
I know.
You realize our listeners right there are going to be like, what the hell are they talking
I know,
about?
they're like, what?
So,
It's fine. It's an inside joke.
It is.
Right?
So to give some context, because I have to now,
Yes.
the goat is our mascot.
yes.
We were all sharing a room for Days of the Dead in Chicago last fall, and we were about to go to bed. The lights were off. We were all laying down, and Jamie just had a late night thought. She decided to share it with us. She was like, I wonder what a goat sounds like. And we all just started laughing. And it's like one of those moments where we're all just really tired from a long day of happiness, laughing. And we just had the slap happy moments. So, and then we were like, what does a screaming goat sound like? And we were looking up YouTube videos like for another hour before we finally passed out. And now we each have little plushy goats. Well, Ethan, I'm working on getting you one. So
All right.
I love my goat.
I love my goat too.
Good.
So cute.
We'll have to have them on the next episode.
Yes. I love it. Love it.
So if you guys see us posting goats, that's why we love.
That's why.
love
There's
goats.
a story.
There's a
Yes.
story, and it's more funny to us than it is anybody else. So
Right.
But you're welcome. Enjoy.
enjoy.
Yes.
If any of you guys get ghosts, like we need to have an actual goat.
Yes.
Yes.
Ethan, you live in
Yes.
the country, you can get a goat.
I have
That's
goats
right, I'll
around
just
the
put a goat in
corner
my
from
yard.
me.
Bring one in the
All right.
house.
My neighbor has 3 goats. They walk them on leashes sometimes. They're really cute.
Because why wouldn't you?
I know.
You
Yep.
live in Arizona, it's nothing but hippies there.
Depending on what pocket of Arizona you're in.
That's true. You're right.
It could be very different, but in certain pockets, yes, there are hippies, they have chickens, and they have goats.
Love it. All right, so this has been our spooky / goat talk this week.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed this format, let us know. We'd love to do more of this where we're just hanging out and chatting horror or
Yeah.
spooky things. And if you did, let us know. Tell us what you would like us to do in the future. If there's a specific topic or serial killer or a true crime story, let us know and we'll potentially cover it in a future episode. So that would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe, share the channel. Any little bit of support helps. And we really appreciate you guys and all the people that have already liked, followed, subscribed, even the people that have reached out, just thanking us for what we're doing. That's really cool. So thank you guys so much.
That's right. We do this for you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Not just to talk about horror. We could do that off camera, but
Yeah.
you know, this is really fun to share this with everybody. And we have a lot of guests coming up, so stay tuned. We're really excited about that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if you have any questions that you would like for us to ask, let us know and we will do our best to accommodate you. Until next time, I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are
We are
Bloody
Bloody
Essentials. Shut up. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.